Hey everyone, welcome. It's another episode of It's Okay to Be Okay. I am Crystal here with Melissa and Jen, and we have a wonderful special guest today, Dr. Mark Howard. Dr. Mark Howard is a clinical psychologist of many years. He's a three principles educator, mentor, and teacher. He is just a kind and wonderful human being. I've had the pleasure of hearing him talk on multiple occasions, and he just has such a gentle spirit and just brings that beautiful, loving feeling to every conversation. So, with that, hi, Mark. Thank you so much.
Well, hello everyone. Wonderful to be here. Well, thank you so much for that introduction, and I love the title of your podcast because I think that was, I first listened to Sydney Banks in person 1983, so it goes back a little bit. And one of the things that really had me know that I was listening to truth finally, something that a person who became a teacher and mentor, that was really wasn't about him, was when he said to us in this seminar, it's not just me. I'm not, I don't have, uh, I'm not the only person seeing this understanding. You have it in you too. You have it in you too right now to be happy, to live in love and understanding, to find well-being. You already have that. It's in you. And although I didn't know how to live with that, because, still at that time I had a lot of habitual thinking that would, get me into worry and concern and so forth, right? But it awakened in me a knowing that that's true, that within me, within all of us, we are okay. And that okay means that you're filled with beautiful feelings. You have beautiful feelings, Sid said, beyond what you can even imagine. Can you see how profound that is? And here I am settling for, maybe a half hour of being happy. You see, at that time, I'm just joking about that. But really what we want to keep awake to, keep looking toward, is that we are okay. Look toward these beautiful feelings. I know that if you've listened to Sydney Banks, he speaks at a spiritual level, so it's not something you can understand intellectually. But he does, to me anyhow, give some guidance that is practical. And one of the things that he has shared is, it's just love and understanding. And again, when I heard that, I thought, oh, I can do that. I can go to love and understanding. And so I'm sharing that because once you can really get a sense in you that you truly are okay, that you truly have the wisdom of life, the intelligence of this universe is a part of you now, you want to just keep looking to that. You want to keep welcoming it. If you get caught up, okay, you get caught up, come back. So that was really a nice home base early on in my first year of listening to Sydney Banks, to hear that guidance of its love and understanding, because I could bring myself back. And that's the other beautiful thing about this understanding, the hopeful aspect of it. And that is, once you have some sense of how the nature of thought works, how the experience we're having in our lives right now is just coming from the way we're using our gift of thought, the way we're thinking. Now, once you see that, we can do that. We can recognize what we're doing. We can wake up once again to, oh no, there I go again, But that waking up now, for me, had a direction. Once I saw that, oh man, Mark, your thinking's gone south again. I can now come steer myself back to love and understanding. And so that might, once I found that feeling again, that might be, going out to the day with generosity. It might bring in gratitude. It might bring, giving some, apologizing to someone. It had guidance to it for me. So I just love your title because it speaks so much to what has awakened in me now. Now it's like 44 years of this understanding and counting. And I continue to evolve, seeing what I'm just sharing with you more and more. There's no end to how you can deepen your understanding of what you truly are. And the title of your podcast directs people to the starting place. Just begin to reflect on you're okay despite what you might think right now, you know, and ease up on that thinking that has you doubting that you're okay. That's just learned thinking. Everyone, you can't escape growing up in the world and not getting habits of thought that, may have some negativity involved with it, critical thinking, self-doubt, comparing yourself, and so forth. But, begin to doubt that that's giving you anything meaningful, and look more toward reflecting, opening up to, you're okay. What does that mean? The beautiful feelings you live in, the happiness you're in right now, were it not for, Sid would say, your silly beliefs. That's what he said. Were it not for your silly beliefs, everyone would have self-esteem now. Self-esteem, he just meant these beautiful feelings again. And the wisdom and guidance to know how to live your life in a way of understanding. So that title you have is powerful. And for me, that's what's powerful about it. I could go on. I really, all of a sudden, I really got into a nice feeling about sharing this with you. But I just want to check in and see if there's anything here that you'd like to ask about or share or have me speak more to.
I have something to say. So recently, I've been kind of having this feeling of disconnect between what I understand mentally and how I experience it in my body. How do you see that through the principles?
Well, there must be some thought in the way, because the minute, in terms of the principles, the minute you have any sense of what we might call an experience, any sense of a thought, you have that completely. That's consciousness. The minute you have a thought, you have that everywhere. Your body, your biochemistry, your physiology, all of that follows the minute you have a thought. So as you're having some understanding about this, maybe there's some other thought that you have that makes it feel like your body isn't connected to your understanding. But if you looked at it, if we really could capture a moment of you finding your understanding, like let's say you wake up and say, oh man, yeah, I just see that these feelings I'm having are just being created by my thoughts. Let's say that's the understanding you just realized in this moment. Well, everything about you would follow that. Now, the thing might be that you might also still have a bit of doubt about that. Maybe you have some other thinking that interferes with that being carried beyond the moment. But with consciousness, whatever you think, your body's going to respond to immediately. Now, it may not be lasting because your thinking may change quickly, but that's how the principles work. So like for example, when I was working clinically, many people came in to see me because of anxiety, and, again, as we looked at it together, well, we realized innocently, like there's nothing right or wrong about this. These are the habits people grow up in. But, the minute they got worried or frightened into frightened thinking, they felt it in their stomach, they said immediately. And then they just started to get hyper. And then their breathing, they started to feel palpitations in their heart or in their chest, they would say. And then they would get panicked. So all that is you get into fearful thinking, worry, concern, anxiety. And the more severe the thinking or the more it goes on, your body continues to respond to that initial worry thought. And we know from a lot of science and research that once a person's in anxiety, our physiology changes right away. We know certain chemicals get dumped into the bloodstream, and that increases your heart rate. That's why you feel palpitations. So actually, thought and consciousness are kind of proven scientifically. That's just an example. So I would say a sense of disconnect, Melissa, if I don't want to lose credibility with you, it's just a thought. It's just really some thought that you're not feeling something, but it may be that once you see your understanding, some other thinking infiltrates that.
Yep, I already know what it is.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
good.
I'm not safe in my body.
Is that what the thought is?
Yeah, that's what just come up. Like, I'm not safe in my body.
Hmm. Well, isn't that wonderful? Not that you
Good.
have the thought, but isn't it wonderful to see that once again, how thought and consciousness really work together, but that you can recognize once again how subtle our thinking is that keeps us from uh, uh, just the full embracing of a moment of realizing this truth, Um, so that's wonderful, Melissa. I'm glad you shared that. See, that's just a thought,
I was going to say, I can see it quite often. Like the other day, I was getting a bit anxious and I was driving down the road and I was feeling that what you was talking about, that heart going. And then because my mind is so analytical and narrative, it feeds whatever I'm thinking and it grows. And I was going down the road, driving down the road, and then it was all coming up. And then for an instant, I saw the moon. It was like behind some clouds and it was just so beautiful. And it literally just like, I was like, because I was asking at the very moment, I was asking for like evidence of the universe, sort of like this source energy. And then I just looked up the moon and like, there it is. And then I just felt instantly calm. It was a really beautiful moment.
Oh, Melissa, that you're just sharing how the understanding works for all of us. And you can see, like for all of us, the minute you have a thought and you then, particularly, well, no, the minute you have a thought, other thoughts will come in. Like your narrative will come in. All a narrative is you have a habitual thought and then other thoughts come in that support it. And it's really wonderful that you could just see how driving down the road and getting into this anxious thinking affect your body. Now, the other piece is look at the beauty of letting it all go in an instant. And that's what a realization will do. That's what understanding will do when it comes back to you. you'll see, oh no, or you'll see beauty. And all that is a lift in your level of consciousness. You went from, I'm making this up the words, but you went from being fearful into beauty. And when you went to beauty, it changed everything for you. Your thinking changed into how magnanimous the world is or the universe. But that's what's possible for all of us.
Mm.
The minute we wake up once again to, oh man, there I go again, getting scared of my body or not feeling safe in my body, the minute you do that, you're free. That's already a shift. And as that evolves, in comes the wisdom. And the wisdom came through even you, for you, even in your captured thinking. You see, you don't have to go meditate for wisdom to come through. Here you were driving with some intensity and internal intensity, and all of a sudden the wisdom came through to take care of you. You see, it said something like, help me see the universe or something like that. You see, it already came through. So the intelligence of mind is serving you. So I could share a lot about just what you shared, but that's beautiful. And that's what's available to all of us.
I was going to say, like, it literally changed my relationships. I remember I've shared this story, I've shared it before, but I had a bit of a on-off relationship with my dad. It was a bit stressed. And I remember sitting in my garden one afternoon, and I don't know what I was thinking about. I was just sitting there in quiet, and all of a sudden I felt this. The only way I can explain it is this pure love just completely hit me in the chest, and I just started crying. I felt it. And then all of a sudden I know that's my dad's love. And I saw it as clear as day. Like all my dad's love for all those years, he just had a different language than me. And instantly I messaged him and said, like, I've had this revelation, I can see you differently. And ever since that point, our relationship has transformed. Just from that 1 second insight.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's where we started. That's really what Sid means by you're filled with beautiful feelings, those experiences. And it can change relationships because I learned the same thing in relationship to my wife early on. We had a really nice marriage, but I was kind of a judgmental guy. I wasn't harsh, but I had the right way, so to speak, if you would say so. And so when I woke up to this, when love came into me with this understanding, after I had been listening to Sid for a while and listening to his tapes, the first book we had was Second Chance in those years, and read that. It's a beautiful book. It's got everything in it. And all of a sudden I realized my wife has her way of sharing love. Same kind of insight, Melissa. I got filled with a beautiful feeling of understanding and love, and I realized, you know what? My wife has her way of sharing love. When she is doing this, that's coming from love. I used to think about it in an evaluation way, evaluating it. And now I saw, well, that was her way of expressing love. And I started to teach that to couples because when I was working in the psychiatry clinic in this hospital, I would see a lot of couples. And I would share that with them in terms of, and it's really true because even though we're all the same energy of mind, we use the power of thought differently. And that's what Sid calls separate realities. Everybody is looking at life through a different way of thinking. And that's why you get people acting so differently from one another in a relationship. But when I started to teach people to have more eyes for the expression of love from their partner rather than opinion, You see the difference, going from having an opinion about the way that person's acting to seeing it as a sign of love. Man, it just brings you closer. You just start to connect in terms of the fact that both of you are already spiritually connected. So you get closer. Once you see through the eyes of love and understanding. And it really changed people. It really changed couples. Not that I was so good. It was just that it was speaking truth. And when they saw it, when they saw it, they found their own ways. And I learned from them. I learned many, many ways to live in life the way Melissa just shared. First, looking more like what we started today, through love and understanding, but also um, um, gently going about remembering there's a guidance, the wisdom of life in me is going to share something. I'll see something. And just like you were given this gift from mind. Sid would say from God, but he moved to mind because he wanted to bring the principles to psychology and psychiatry. And he knew that word, people have so many different ways of thinking about the word God. They would not get what he really was trying to point people to. This formless energy of love.
And like you had said earlier, I think that one of the neatest things about the principles is it's this understanding it's never ending. We can never stop seeing more if we keep looking in the direction. And you don't have to see a lot for it to change everything. And when you get to witness people seeing thought in the moment for the first time, and every time you see it in the moment, it is like the first time. That's what's cool about this understanding. Once you see something, no matter how small, if you keep looking in that direction, it just continues to unfold in every aspect.
Well, Jennifer, that's beautiful. I mean, all of you are really sharing some wisdom already. That's what's so thrilling about this understanding. I was thrilled because I realized my understanding will evolve. I continue to evolve. You see, one of the fortunate things for me was I had to share this daily to, individuals and groups every day. So thank God you can evolve your understanding, but it was a natural, like what people say, organic process. So in the midst of sharing what I'd realized to clients, they realized something, and then I learned from that. So it's just a continual evolution. And there's a truth to this. There's a truth to this in that when Sid was talking about levels of consciousness, levels of understanding, levels of awareness of the principles, he said to us, there's infinite levels. Can you see how profound that is? There's no end to your understanding. And when I mentor now, I mentor people who want to practice with the principles in all kinds of health work, coaches, psychotherapists, etc. So is that evolving the rest of your life? You always, always improve or see more about how you can share this understanding with a person that they can hear you. So, I looked at it early on as just ongoing discovery. It's an ongoing discovery about the nature of life, about our true nature. And isn't that isn't that something? Isn't that like, I can't even find the word for it, but can you see yourself living in today or in the day, looking to open up for a discovery? Like, what does life have in store for me today? Rather than what does Mark Howard, with his usual thinking, have in store for him today? It's kind of like that joke. They say, what would you choose? What has the intelligence of life have in store for you today? Or what does Mark Howard have in store for him today? It's a no-brainer what I would choose, right? And so it's nice to kind of live in that. I hadn't seen this till I started talking with you, that we can live. I hadn't seen this really. This is how, sharing this works. I can go out and just open up to, what does life have for me for discovery today? It might have a gentleness, like, be kind to this person. I'm reminded of a story of, can I share a story? Yeah. So I shared this on my last teleseminar, but it was just last month. And my wife and I were going grocery shopping, and we pull into the parking lot of the store, and there's a man in a chair with a sign, "I'll pray for you." Well, I go right away to an opinion. Oh man, I wonder what he's charging for that. And my wife got curious. She said, I wonder what he's going to pray, how he prays. And you know what? I'm going to see if he'll pray for, not her name, Jane, which is a friend of my wife who has terminal cancer. I said, well, go ahead and good luck. I said. So she went up and she came back and she said, he's a beautiful man. And he's going to pray for Jane. And it got me curious. I opened up beyond my opinion. Thankfully, once again. And I went up in curiosity, in wondering, what does life, I didn't have this at the time, but it's, what does life have me now to discover today? And I discovered that he, 4 years ago, got enlightened to pray for people. He just saw that as his mission, to pray for people. And he does this. And oh my God, I just felt so much love when he shared that. And he didn't ask for money at all. There wasn't like something to drop money. He had nothing about money in this. He just wanted to pray for people. And then I shared with him, this research that prayer has been shown to be powerful when groups of people get together to pray. And he acknowledged that because in the 4 years, he's experienced that. So what does life have today when you go out for you to discover, to go beyond your habits of thought, my habit of opinion, to open up to the beauty that's around us, huh? And I learned that lesson, more and more. It's continual, like you said, Jennifer, continual evolution of that understanding.
I love that insight.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I love that insight of like what you just said, like, do you want to go with this one or this one? And it's just like, that just hit me like, oh yeah, I want to go with that one. Of course I do. And I love the coincidences in this as well. Like, you're talking about curiosity, and I had an insight about curiosity today. And it was like, I've been watching this thing called Ted Lasso or something on the
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've been watching it and I'm like, I love how he's so curious about people. And I realized that that's how I can be a better coach. I'm not curious enough. I'm trying to convince people, or I'm taking on the responsibility of them getting an insight. I'm like, no, the curiosity is what will create the insight, because then you get this kind of back and flow of like what you just had with that man with the prayer, and I love that.
Well, that's again what I learned in sharing this understanding. And I share that with practitioners. It's curiosity. It's listening with curiosity that, like what you said, that gives you what to share, what to teach. And that's beautiful, Melissa, because that's where you want to be. You don't want to be into convincing them or getting them into listening to this. You want to listen, and you want to listen with curiosity, even in the sense that you might wonder, like, how could they, what are they thinking that they would share this, they would be in this kind of experience? And you be curious with them about it. You will see something you hadn't noticed before. Something will occur to you. You'll see it. Oh, that's what you're up against. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, have you ever considered, you, you'll just really flow into sharing what you have already understood, and maybe even see differently as you're listening with curiosity. That's the mainstay for how to listen. And that should serve what you share. What you share should come from that state. And I always call it like a dance. If you share first, then you want to get into this place of curiosity about how did that land for you. If you're just listening, then you just want to be curious about this human being and how they're putting things together. I'm saying a lot about that, but that's really it. It's being curious all over, everywhere in your life. If you really reminded yourself, wait a minute here, let me just be curious about, like, what's my son about here? What's this about for him? What's this about for my wife? What's this about for my colleague? You'll hear deeper. And when you hear deeper, what do you get? You get the connection to mind that's already there. And that intelligence that's there will guide you for whatever the role is. Father, spouse, colleague, coach, mentor. This is profound and yet simple, and you just believe it. Because you'll never figure out, but you will, as you heard Jennifer and Melissa today, you see what they have found. And there's that for you to find, people here, your audience to find, and more. It doesn't stop.
I just wanted to say something on the curiosity. It's something that I just kind of heard, so to speak. The curiosity with listening, it just came to me. It's just not just, we say that curiosity, listen with curiosity, but it's not just with our hearing. It's with observing, it's with our seeing and our touching and all the senses. We can get curious and we can learn and listen. And the synchronicities, like you said, Melissa, I have to say something just because, like, when you talked about the moon peering, like that light coming from the clouds, I promise you, like 3 nights ago, same thing, except I was just staring out my back door and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, isn't that not just the most beautiful thing and beautiful reminder, because it's a night sky, it's dark outside, and the moon is just piercing through these clouds. Yeah, I even made my daughter come over and look because it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, every day the understanding deepens and you see things that I've probably seen the moon peering through the clouds thousands of times or more in my life, but in that moment, it was so special and so beautiful. And it was just like, it's just like mind giving you a reminder that there is beauty everywhere, that we are beauty, that if you just take time to slow down and look around and get curious, it's amazing what you'll discover. It's endless, like you've been saying, Mark, endless. I love it. So yeah, but I had to throw the cloud thing in there because when you said that, Melissa, I'm thought, I wonder, even though we don't share same nighttime, daytime, I wonder if that was the same day.
Mark, I'm curious. Have you ever worked with clients that have got like this stubbornness or this like real resistance in them? How have you helped them with that?
Well, yes. I mean, yes. I think, like my first 28 years of just working as a clinical psychologist, I was in a psychiatry department in a medical center. And I've really seen people who suffer from almost anything you can think of, because you had to be open at least a day in your schedule to see people who were coming in rather than, the program I was working in. So you really speak to another discovery I found, again, to get to improve on how to handle sharing this understanding with that type of client. And here's what occurred to me. You see if you have a sense of it. We can share with people what we're noticing because we have the gift of thought to see what's in front of us. And we're going to notice something about our clients they may not really have a sense of. And you can share that and have that be what the session looks at and explores. So you could share that. I do it very gently, and I'm willing to drop my invitation, but I should just share. I'll just ask for permission, and I'll just share. Like John, I'm noticing something about how you are with me, and I wonder if I could share it with you. Is that okay? And they'll say, yeah. And I say, it's okay if I share this with you. And I'll say, it just seems like we've covered some, for me, have been very meaningful understanding of these principles. And it just seems like you're kind of resistant to it, or you kind of like, yes, but it, or something like that. Is that going on? Is that what's going on? Well, yeah, you're right. So, well, can we talk about that? What's that about? Why is that there? Now, we're not talking about what I taught. We're not really talking about this person's resistance. We're talking about what's there in the thinking. So now you can coach and teach to the thinking. You see, it becomes impersonal. If you get it, you see, now all of a sudden, so I'm curious. You get the curiosity. What is that? Let's just look at it together, because I'll just continue to just share from my heart. I know if we can tackle this together, you're going to be happy. So can we look at that? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, what's going on? What are you thinking? Well, I don't really trust you. I really don't trust this yet. I can't relax about it. Now we're talking here in this thinking, and we could try to find some way that I can speak to that will help. We're no longer talking about a resistant client. We're talking about somebody who doesn't really believe yet they can relax their minds, or doesn't trust that, or gets worried about it. So now we can have a conversation there. But it all came back to my learning that I just tried it out. Can I just share something I'm noticing here? And it started to really become very meaningful. So again, you have thought to see things. You're the mentor or the coach or the health practitioner. You're going to see something that person doesn't really, recognize. And so you ask about it. You want to be, heart to heart. You want to really come from your heart. You want to be very gentle because it's really close to the person. If, if they get any sense of judgment, they're going to get defensive. But, everyone here is going to come from their heart asking that. And then if they say no, I'll just say, oh, okay, let's let that go. But, is it okay if we take a look maybe or come back to that? So, okay, let's let that go. What were we talking about? Let's go back there. But that'll be your own measure. You'll gauge that. You'll know whether to stop, whether to continue to offer, whether to continue to speak to your heart about what's possible for this person if they were able to settle down that resistance. Did that make sense?
Yeah,
Did that make sense to
absolutely.
everybody?
Yes. I was just going to say, I love that you say that because, like, with my job, my clients aren't coming to me to learn the principles.
Mhm.
So that's not how I come at it with them. I listen to them and I allow them to talk and I see how the principles are kind of showing up for them. And then that's how I meet them where they're at. If I hear their wisdom, I ask permission and I repeat back what I hear. If I see how they're getting caught up in thought, I ask for permission and then I point it out. And then we kind of talk about thought in the moment or our innate wisdom but I'm seeing people get it. I'm seeing people start to notice thought in the moment and sometimes just the biggest thing, at least in the job I'm in right now, is meeting people where they're at and then helping them see through their own thought created illusions.
Yeah. It's really beautiful, and I'm sure you've all experienced it for yourselves and other people. When people hear that it's just their thinking, they're relieved. You can feel it. They may not know what to do with that. They may not be ready to use it. But the minute you can share from knowing the truth of that, you can see it hits them. They just, I don't know, they just seem to relax a bit more. You can feel it. Like during COVID here, I was asked to help out in an inpatient psychiatry unit. I never worked in that kind of system before, but these are people that are really seriously mentally troubled. They have like what people call psychotic thinking. In other words, it's not really attached to reality. But when you come to them, knowing they already have the wisdom they need, that they are, like your title, already okay. They feel it. When you see they're not that thinking, and you just meet them, they're like the walking in the hall of this hospital, of this clinic, this part of the hospital where I was working, and you greet them as you would a human being, not somebody who is diagnosed. They'll join you. Now, it may not last because they don't understand thought yet. But I remember someone really frightened who the nurses asked me to see because he had just been admitted, and they were able to kind of calm him down and stabilize him. But they thought if they could just talk, he could just talk with me, he would be okay for the weekend. Well, he came in with, really serious thoughts about the devil and Jesus, judging him and all of this stuff. He was wrapped up in this. And again, as we've been talking about, listening with curiosity. I wasn't listening to all that stuff because if I listened to all that stuff, it would scare me. Like, how am I going to help that? But if I listened to the human being, I realized something. The guidance again from the intelligence of mind. I saw he was frightened. I saw he was scared. And my heart went out to him, and he felt it. And he kind of settled down. And I said, not his name. I said, John, we're all the same. All of us have scary thinking. Mine doesn't get as far out as yours right now. And in this feeling, I bring humor a lot, and I brought humor to a person who's caught up in, you would all think, be humorous with that kind of a person suffering so much for that. And yeah. In the moment, I said, you know what? I get fearful thinking. It's just not as far out as yours. But John, all that is fearful thinking. You just learn to get caught up in being scared. And you just learned thinking that got you scared. And if we can talk about that in your stay here, you're going to feel a lot better. And he just calmed down. He just calmed down. He started to get tears in his eyes. He was still talking about Jesus, but it was a different person. So he thanked me. I'm starting to get tears. Sorry. And we walked back to his room, and he was a different person. The nursing staff, you could see, they were looking like, what? This person was calm. He said, thank you. I said, have a nice weekend. I'll see you on Monday. So again, I wanted to really have you see it's not me. It's the understanding. It's listening to the fact that everyone around you's mind, knowing that your clients are mind, knowing that they are okay, knowing they have the wisdom that will guide them their way. All you have to do is help them see where their experience right now is coming from. And like you said, Jennifer, the minute they see it, you can feel it. And it doesn't matter if they're coming as a client. When you can hear a place to start to offer your understanding of thought or how thinking might be able to be shared with them, that's going to be so much more helpful. And now the conversation is about thinking, not the content, really, of why they're there. But that's beautiful, the way you listen for that. And as you shared, the minute you could say to people, well, have you ever considered, I like when I get a chance to say that, have you ever considered that your thinking might have something to do with this? And they say, really? What? What do you mean? And now we're talking about thought, not about depression, anxiety, and so forth. Not that that isn't important to maybe come back to, but what's more important, really, isn't it, is for somebody understanding how the way they're using thought is what's affecting them. Like you said, Melissa, early on, that once they start thinking they're depressed, everything comes in, a narrative of being a depressed person comes in. Oh, I was a bad wife. Oh, my friends don't talk to me anymore. The day's going to be dark. Oh, I'm estranged from my daughter. See, all of that comes in the minute you have a thought in an instant. So no wonder people have a feeling from that and a body's reaction to that. But the minute you could say, hey, have you ever thought that the way you're thinking has something to do with this? Oh my God. People are open. Not everybody, of course, but I'm meaning, and people hear that, you can feel they're hearing that because their mind, like you, and then when they are with you, you're connected spiritually. Like you're connected spiritually already, but when they're with you, the intelligence of mind is working through both of you. You want to also see that. And you also want to see that with your loved ones. Oh my God, we covered so much together. This is beautiful. I can't believe our journey together today. It's really nice. Thank you for having me. And any other questions or thoughts you want to share?
No, I think I'm just in a really nice space right now. Like you lulled me into a hypnotic state. Is there anything that's on your heart right now that you really want to get out into the world and share with people?
No, I really shared it. Actually, I really shared it in the beginning because, I do monthly teleseminars, and that's really been the theme of what's been in my heart to share with people. And fortunately, as we started, um, that's what was there to share. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to Ireland in 2.5 weeks. I'm doing a 2-day retreat there. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's going to be so exciting, and first time I've ever gone to Ireland. So
Whereabouts in Ireland are you going?
it's called Galway
Hmm.
by Dublin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm half Irish, so I'm over there quite. Well, I haven't been
Ah,
over there in a while, but yeah. So
well, hop
when are you doing
over.
that? Mm.
we're, we're doing that the 20th and 21st of June.
Well, if you want to give us the details of that, we'll put that in the description for anyone that's interested in popping over and seeing you. So, Mark, if anyone wants to get in contact with you or message you, where do they go for that?
Yes, and I would welcome that. Any questions or anything you'd like to share. So you just would send it to my email, which is the abbreviation of Dr. DR, and then my name, Mark Howard, at Comcast.net.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on. You are wonderful. It's so wonderful to hear you speak, and I'm so grateful that you came on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's really touched me. And thank you so much for the invitation and to hear your own wisdom. All of what you shared, I could feel that you're already having an understanding that can help humanity, and we need that. But I just love hearing your understanding, and yours touched mine and allowed me to share more. So thank you for having me. This is great. This was wonderful.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. It really
Thank
was.
you. And everybody, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Let us know what you think. And thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
1,